everyone, and welcome to another segment of Bella TV. My name is Jennifer, and today I am joined by the outstanding actress Caroline Aaron. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here.
We're very excited to have you. Not only, are we obviously here to talk about the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which you star in, but I mean, your filmography, your career in acting, whether television, film, theater, Broadway, I mean, is endless. Do you know how many roles to date you have currently played?
I don't really. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. It's like I'm still waiting to climb that mountain. But I know it's been a lot. I can tell you that.
Yes.
I've been at it a long time.
Yeah. Well, congrats on such huge success, and especially with the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Very exciting. Season 4 was just released not that long ago. And I mean, your character is hilarious and lovable and adorable. So you are Shirley Maisel. You are the original Mrs. Maisel.
I'd like to say that too.
Yes, yes.
People say, "Play." I play Mrs. Maisel on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, not the titular one of the title, but still I am Mrs. Maisel.
The original, yeah.
Yes.
It's a fantastic show about obviously 1950s housewife turned comedian, and all of the craziness that goes along with that. But just to give our audience a little background, why don't you tell us a little bit about the show and the character that you play?
The heroine of our show is Midge Maisel. She is a very happy 1950s housewife, working with all the prescriptions that particular time demanded. She's married, she has 2 young children, and she finds out her husband, my son, is having an affair. He is an aspiring comedian. She goes down to the comedy club where he would sometimes try and do a set. She's a little drunk, a little wounded, and she picks up a microphone and tells her story. There's a manager in the audience that night that goes, "This girl has some talent." And so our series is about her journey of trying to break into the world of comedy in the 1950s for a woman, which was not easy.
Yeah.
I play her mother-in-law, and as I said, my bad son made a mistake, but somehow the family still stay together.
Yeah. And I think, you touched on a little bit, but I went back and I rewatched the first episode, and, Midge, Miriam Maisel, plays this absolutely perfect, stereotypical 1950s housewife, to where, I mean, literally she measures her ankles and waist every day. She gets up early to do her hair and makeup before her husband wakes up. I mean, it's just insane to see. She does play. I mean, literally, she's marvelous, because the fact that she, keeps all of this together and kind of keeps the house going, supports his, comedy career, and just, she really does play that role so perfectly. And then to see her kind of jump into this witty, actually very funny, and, maybe a little crude comic, it's great to see, number one, but it's also very empowering, because she was obviously not like other women.
That's right. She was the lone voice in our story, and that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even like, obviously her and her peers who, thought, "Oh my God, I can't believe your husband is leaving you, and it was almost her fault." Well, what can you do to get him back?
Right, exactly. And how are you going to support yourself? That was the big question. The idea that a woman would be without a man would mean that she was completely without options. So her father says, but the great Tony Shalhoub, I think in the first season, "What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?" And, she's the injured party, and yet she's responsible for keeping this marriage together at all costs. And she decides to forge ahead alone, young woman with children.
Yeah. And I mean, her character is, fantastic. But I like the fact that it speaks to women's empowerment, especially today with everything that we have going on in the world. It's empowering to watch a character like Midge kind of step out of her comfort zone and go against the grain, and really challenge people and what they, thought women should and shouldn't be. And I'm sure you see that and appreciate that working alongside that character all the time.
All the time. Absolutely. And you're right. We are in the midst of shooting our 5th and final season. And when I think of the 4 years, just in terms of women in our world right now, it's been a real roller coaster. So it is really entertaining and inspiring to spend time with this series at this particular moment.
Yeah. So season 4 was released in February. For anyone who's not caught up yet, can you give us a little bit, without giving too much away, about kind of what unfolds in season 4?
Well, I think season 4 so far, for me anyway, has been the most consequential because it wasn't planned. But at the end of season 3, where the story dropped us off, is that Midge was on the rise. Her career was going really well, and she made a mistake. And she talked on stage about her boss, the singer Shai Baldwin. I learned from doing the series, there was no such thing as comedy clubs in those days. Comics opened for singers. They didn't even have their own venue. They didn't have their own lane at all. Hard to believe now because comedy is such a big part of our entertainment landscape, but it didn't used to be. She made a mistake. She was fired. We left her off at the end of season 3. You know that game Candyland? She drew a card and she went all the way back down the mountain. And it just so happened that it coincided with our pandemic. So we had to be shut down for a year and a half. But when we came back together, everybody was starting over in real life and in the fictitious life of these characters. So season 4 is about her trying to crawl back up from the place that we left her off, which is she's starting over. She has at the beginning of season 4 a conversation with her manager where she says, I don't want to open for anybody else. I want to be the headliner. And the manager says to her, that's not how the business works. You're a woman, you're new, you can't be a headliner. And her answer is, let's change the business. And so season 4 is about her trying to do just that.
Yeah, I love that. And as you mentioned, you have been renewed for a 5th but final season. How does that feel? I mean, you spent, these past few years with this amazing cast and crew, and I'm sure they're like a family to you at this point. And obviously the show has become such a phenomenon. I mean, I'm sure that was sad news knowing that it would be a final.
Oh, it is so sad. And, we're all trying to instruct each other to cherish the moment. But every single time we complete an episode, we're in mourning because none of us want to let this go or let each other go. But these writers are way too talented and too classy to stay too long at the fair. I think we've all known that with other television shows, and they have a story to tell, and they're going to land this plane in 4 more episodes. So we're very sad. This is an ensemble that really enjoys each other and is really motivated by each other's talent.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, the ensemble you've won awards, and it's, the show obviously, Emmy winning. I mean, it's been huge. Do we know yet when season 5 will be released?
I don't know that. I know that we don't finish shooting it till October. Okay. So I would say Christmas would be the earliest.
Okay.
Christmas, yeah.
Very exciting, very exciting. And so I have to, before we go, I feel as though, like I started with, you have such an amazing career and you've been in this business for a long time. And obviously now you work on a show that's also, empowering and inspiring women. What advice would you give the Midges of the world, the upcoming actresses of the world, female entrepreneurs, what have you, who want to make it and want to pave a way and want to be successful women?
Well, I have a daughter who's recently graduated from college, and she graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design. So she is hoping to have a career in the visual arts. And she's already been to the School of Hard Knocks, just 2 years out, as I think we all have a degree from that school. But I said to her one day on the phone, I said, you're going to have to make friends with uncertainty. And that's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, there's nothing bad about that. These are the years in which you find that out about yourself, because I would say the number of people who are part of my community when I was 21 or 22 and just started with this dream, very few of them are still on the ride, because it is, as you said, it's hard, but it's also deeply unpredictable
Yeah.
what's going to happen. It's like this show being such a gigantic hit. No one predicted that. And yet it's just, such a delicious surprise at this point. And I think for anybody who's aspirational, which I think is why the show is such a hit, for
Mhm.
anyone who's aspirational, learn to make friends with uncertainty and don't ever give up. And don't let anybody, I had an agent tell me once, this is a great thing I can share. I was on my way to Los Angeles from New York. I had gotten a job there, and I had a choice between doing this play on Broadway or creating the role in Los Angeles. And I said to my agent, I just don't think I'm going to take Hollywood by storm. I only wear black, I smoke, I don't drive. That doesn't seem like a recipe to take the town down. And he said to me, those are only patterns, they're not rules. And he said, only people who aren't really talented mistake the patterns for rules. There are no rules. So that's what I have to say to people who are on this journey.
I love that. Very, very inspiring and very aspirational, like you said, and exactly like the show. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Well, Caroline, it has been a pleasure to meet you. I'm
Yes.
so excited for the new season and for everything else you have coming up. I have a feeling you will not be stopping anytime soon.
I hope not. I hope not. But there is, all of us feel, no matter how long we've been in this, will I ever get another job when this is over? So I just want to tell everyone that feeling never goes away. You never feel like you're safe.
Well, congrats on all of your success. You've had a phenomenal career, and I look forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad we got to talk.
Me too.